Well, welcome back to Western Mass News at 4:30. I'm Jeff Kramer.
And I'm meteorologist Jacob Wyckoff.
We have had a few tastes of winter, including this morning, but is that a sign of what's to come?
Well, last year, Jeff, we were lucky. We got off pretty easy. Winter is just a few weeks away, but the First Warning Weather Team put our heads together to see what Old Man Winter might have in store for us this time around.
Western Mass is well into a typical New England fall, big temperature swings and wild weather. October 18th saw a new record high temperature of 84 degrees. Just 9 days later, we had our first snowfall of the year. An inch and a half of the white stuff officially fell at Westover Air Reserve Base, with higher amounts in Hampshire and Franklin County. That led to power outages and slippery roads.
I was used to the nice, warm weather. Actually, I was used to the great winter we had last year.
Yeah.
And this is changing.
I don't like the cold weather, so I didn't like it.
It's the question of the year. Will the early snow set the pace for our upcoming winter, or will we have a winter at all? We are coming off one of the warmest and driest winters on record. Our total snowfall of 23.9 inches was about half of the seasonal average.
Last year, a lot of our storms actually tracked either over us or to our west, so we may have started off with snow, but then we pretty quickly went over to rain or rain, sleet, some sort of combination.
Not only were we a little too warm, but storm tracks just missed us.
A lot of times, winter to winter, storm to storm, just a slight variation in the path could mean big differences in snow totals.
We are only weeks away from the official start of winter, and some of the variables we track are starting to show signs of activity.
A couple of things that we're watching as we go into the winter months. El Nino, which is an ocean pattern, and then we watch also some atmospheric patterns that determine if we're going to have a snowy winter or a cold winter, and that's the North Atlantic Oscillation, or NAO, and the Arctic Oscillation.
El Nino Southern Oscillation, or ENSO for short, is the warming or cooling of the Pacific Ocean waters along the equator. Last year, ENSO was strongly positive, contributing to our warm and dry winter. This year, the El Nino pattern is forecast to be in a weak La Nina state, which would put the Northeast in a colder setup for snow.
We also use something called the Arctic Oscillation, sometimes dubbed the polar vortex, to see how many shots of cold air we'll get. Much like a children's spinning top, when a polar vortex is strong, it traps cold air over the Arctic. But when a children's top starts to weaken, or the polar vortex starts to weaken, you see it start to wobble a little bit, and that sends shots of cold air spilling into Canada, into the U.S. That cold air is what we'll see towards the end of the week.
Having the cold air in place plays a huge difference in our local weather.
A degree or two difference can mean the difference between a heavy wet snowstorm or it being all rain. If you just get one or two of those storms going one way or the other, that's going to change your idea of the entire winter.
Finally, we look at snow cover in Siberia, sometimes dubbed the refrigerator of the Northern Hemisphere. The feedback mechanism works like this. More snow in Siberia leads to more light reflected back into space. That leads to colder temperatures, which then get transported into our direction. Eurasian snowfall is running 100% above average for this time of year. That weighs heavily in our winter forecast.
This winter is shaping up to be colder and wetter than last season. In fact, the First Warning Weather Team is forecasting above normal snowfall totals for the season.
Snow lovers rejoice. A few more snow days may be necessary with our forecast of around 60 to 70 inches of snow.
It's part of being a New Englander, right? We're hardy people.
Western Mass can expect periods of relative warmth and bone-chilling cold, but in the end, will be near average or slightly below average temperature-wise for the winter.
The most remarkable part of the winter is that we have a winter at all.
And that is okay with at least a few of you.
Winter is coming. Are you excited for that?
Yes, it's like excited. My mom's gonna tell me, go shovel outside.